Welcome back to the channel. I've got a very special guest right now. Jay Olshonsky, CEO of NAI Global. Jay, thank you for coming on today.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
You are enjoying the CRAI Summit.
I am. This is my first one. I wanted very badly to come last year, but the timing just didn't work for me to get up to Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
And I'm very familiar with many of the people that are here, and some of them I've met online. And today was the first time I've actually met them in person, which has been wonderful. So, as they've been saying today, the whole aspect of social media and then becoming social by actually meeting you and meeting others that are here, I think it's wonderful, and it's it's something I really look forward to coming to this year.
Yeah. Has Ken told you where next year's going to be?
No, I didn't hear that.
Cannot get that out of him.
I thought he's keeping that a secret set till tomorrow.
He's very. I mean, I've been to his wife. I don't know where it's probably a little close to home, huh? So social media in relation to commercial real estate now, I think is something that, being the CEO of such a large company, you can really speak to this very, very well. And we've seen agents, you're seeing there's 120 or 30 agents here right now that are top influencers in commercial real estate. How do you see social media moving commercial real estate forward, or the effects of it?
Well, first of all, we think it's new, social media, but I can tell you that when you think back, we've had a social media plan at NAI Global since 2012, 13, and it's evolved over the years. Certainly, there's things like Instagram and and even now TikTok and certainly LinkedIn and Twitter were, let's say, some of the earlier ones, and then there are others, but those are the main ones. And the aspect of social media is a way to extend your marketing relatively inexpensive. And you can also do it from the point of view of a brand or an individual. So we kind of do lots of different things that we provide content to all of our 185 members, which are 300 offices, that essentially, and we pay a lot of money to a third-party company to develop content for us, because it's way too complicated for like me or my team to say, let's look through things and come up with content. So we have a content provider. And then what we try to do is we call it social media in a box, and we try to basically say, here's the content. If you like it, cut and paste it, change Jay's name to your name, change New York City, where I work, out of to Los Angeles, add a little local flavor, push send. And whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., we try to make it easy. And it absolutely helps in our brand awareness, both at the individual agent. It helps in our brand awareness of our local companies. And it also helps with our global brand awareness, in really maintaining our presence out there, that if we were trying to do it from a paid advertising point of view or more traditional marketing means, it really would be quite expensive. And there's no way really, I actually love the fact that individuals or teams or even offices can have their own plan, whether it's a little or a lot. And we have quite a few people here at this event that work for NAI Global. You're
pretty unusual, though. A lot of big firms. I mean, how many offices do you guys have now?
We have over 300 offices.
Over 300 offices. A lot of big firms really limit their commercial brokers on what they can do.
That's correct.
So you guys are a little bit unique.
Well, we have a uniqueness that also adds to that. So we are the largest collection of independently owned and operated commercial real estate firms. We're not a franchise, but we kind of operate in that sort of, we're the parent, they're the child, and the children are free to do what they want to do. Now, with that said, what they really want is for us to guide them and lead them and show them and educate them. And I have to give a lot of credit to Lindsay Fierro, who's our Chief Operating Officer. She has been, myself and Lindsay were very early adopters of all social media. And my adoption of the social media really comes from my children. I had a son that worked at Twitter early. And so I've always been curious about all technology. And so I was educated from the beginnings of Twitter when he was working there. How does it work? How do you do it? And then I got very interested in it from the point of view of following and researching some, and I think it was mentioned today, some of the Hollywood and celebrities that have enormous presence on social media and have built businesses from scratch around social media. And look, I've been many times say this, and I would like to have the same presence that Kylie Jenner has.
Wouldn't we all?
And I would like to be able to develop a business.
Or just the bank account.
Forget that. But, with all due respect to even the bank account, she did it.
Yeah.
She went from zero to the bank account in 4 years, and it was basically driven by social media.
Yep.
And now, you also have to remember, there's a cosmetic company behind it. There's a distribution company behind it. There's a technology company called Shopify behind it. I sometimes sit around and go, why can't commercial real estate start adopting some of those things? And there is a marketing company that I've run into recently that will keep them nameless that is using Shopify to actually present their products. Yeah. And so I also think it's the future. It's interesting.
I think that's why we're here at this summit is, what Kent started here. Absolutely.
And keep in mind, Ken and I are probably two of the older people here. No, I'm being and so but you start with that and you go, okay, and Ken's certainly way ahead of starting it than I was, but you start with the curiosity and the aspect of, most people Ken's age and my age could care less.
Yeah, they're not going to touch it.
In commercial real estate.
Yeah.
And they go, that's for the millennials. And I'm like, well, the millennials are almost 40 now. So, it's just, and all the millennials are lazy. Well, you got the wrong millennials. You know? I mean, it's just, it's sort of, I hate these buzzwords about.
It's just easy. Right?
It's easy.
We're lazy because that's a keyword that's out there right now.
Exactly.
It's, I've seen, and actually a couple of our agents, they're, in their 30s, and they're using the technology, and they're going up against people that have been in the business in their market for 10, 12 years. And they're starting to take deals with them. Why? Because they have a bigger presence. The agent that's been in the market for a while is relying on referrals. Our agents are coming in, and they're on LinkedIn, even TikTok. They don't use it too much, but they do utilize it some. Instagram, probably LinkedIn the most because it's been the most powerful for them. But it's been highly effective.
It's tremendously effective, and as in my role of the leader of this company, anywhere between 1 to 3 times a month, I will get a direct message or an email, or someone will look me up and then call me and say, I saw on Twitter that you were, recommending this, and I know you're the head of NAI Global. I need office space in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And, at some level, my answer is, when would you like to meet with my people in San Antonio?
Yeah, sure.
So there are real things that also happen from it, not counting that I have walked into meetings and people say to me, I noticed you really like art. And I'm like, okay, are you following me on Twitter? And they go, yes. Yeah. And because part of my theme of the 3 to 4 different things I do is I have a whole concept of art, and it's more contemporary art. Right. And as weird as that sounds from a commercial real estate point of view, but I notice it most when I walk into a meeting when I haven't met somebody, because everyone Googles everybody now.
Sure, yeah.
And they get to your Twitter feed or something like that. And if they're half interested, they're reading it. And then certainly, there's all aspects that come into play. And those are the people that are telling me about it. So I don't even know the others that don't tell me.
Sure, yeah.
Or stuff like that. And we try to make it easy. That's the hardest part, because, you got to stick. I think all commercial real estate is process.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do. If you're a leasing agent, it's a process. If you're a selling agent, it's a process. But even handling social media, it's a process.
Yeah.
You need to pick your process, stick to it. I only do Twitter because I don't want to, as an individual, I only do Twitter. I don't want to do 4 different things.
Right.
Now we're starting to do TikTok featuring me as the voice and the movement, not the dancing.
I was going to say,
no dancing.
Do you have rhythm or no?
No, it's more just talking, and it's video.
Okay.
And, but we're doing that more under the banner of, we've come up with something, what would Jay say?
Okay.
On behalf of NAI Global. And, so we just recently did one that's about work from home, which is pretty timely.
Mm-hmm.
And we contrasted the work from home to the pandemic and then New York City being hit because we just celebrated, or not celebrated, we remembered 9/11.
Sure.
And that was a big shock to the system, and people stopped working from home. They started working from home.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one huge missing link there. The technology to work from home in 2001,
it wasn't there.
you didn't have an iPhone or an Android phone.
Yeah.
You didn't have a Zoom.
Yeah.
You had laptops, but they didn't really have video and different aspects. So it was much harder for someone to, and even a lot of people didn't have broadband or internet.
Sure.
So it was much. So when you really think of all of this is all a result of increased technology.
Yeah.
And getting better all the time.
Oh, I know. There was this afternoon at the summit. There was 4 ladies that were up, and they were talking about how deals that they've transacted because of being on certain platforms, and the numbers were amazing to me. I mean, we track ours. I mean, we have obviously met Sammy here, but we track our where it came from, the lead came from. And just this year, we've done a few $100,000 just off of what came off of Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And TikTok we're fairly weak at. We got to get better at that, but
and that's one. It's a new one, and
it's newer.
I would say we're not sure either, but we figure we're going to try it, and we'll see how it goes. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to how these things, let's say, take off.
Right, you don't know.
You don't necessarily know.
And then but you've got like this summit going, and everybody here is sharing ideas, and a lot of these people are going to go back and implement the ideas that they heard here, and it can really be powerful for our industry.
It can. Well, think about it just in what I call a basic function of leasing a building.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's an office building, warehouse building. It doesn't matter. Retail building. Traditionally, we would put a sign on the property.
Mm-hmm.
We still do.
Yep.
Traditionally, we would send it out to the tenant base and to the brokerage base if you're going to cooperate, which most people do. We still do.
Yeah.
All of that is the same things that, let's say, Ken and I were doing in the 80s and 90s. The only difference is it's now electronic and it's easier to track. But the other thing that happens on behalf of your, let's say, owner, if I tweet out a promoted tweet on somebody's building, I can actually document to him or her, the owner, the results.
Yep.
I spent this much money, or we spent this much money. Here are the results. Here's how many eyeballs. Here's the people we selected to promote. And you can do that in Instagram and also LinkedIn too. And so in a certain regard, and then we also supplement through other methods, like LoopNet and CoStar, to have a whole tie-in to this too. And, from the point of view that if you're on behalf of an owner, you're doing multiple things to market the property. And if you're keeping track of it, maybe the combination of all of them gets the awareness and the attention to the property. So it's not necessarily just for us.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah, it's, and I didn't know you guys were implementing it. Big companies like yours have not been implementing that stuff. It's the first time hearing of you guys doing it. I think it's amazing. Do you think it's going to catch on with the CBREs, the JLLs of the world?
Well,
eventually we'll have to, won't it?
It's interesting. I recently met with a woman that works at CBRE who has a big social media presence.
Okay.
And she very nicely said it was somewhat of a struggle to get the approvals.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, these are publicly traded companies. We're not.
Right.
Most of the big commercial real estate firms are publicly traded firms. So you do have certain requirements, conflicts of interest that you do need to be aware of. And then the other thing, where there's always risk in social media, which I always put into the bad person behavior.
Be careful.
You have to be careful. It is, if something's said the wrong way or presented the wrong way, it could. So I understand why the big companies are fairly restrictive on that. And from our point of view, because we have all these independent companies, we try. And remember, I said we give them content.
Yeah, that's what I was going to let you finish. So you guys you're regulating in a way that here's the content, just plug and play now.
That's right. But we're not requiring that they use that or not. But it's there. So and the other thing we're trying to do is that it's consistency and repetitive, and it's brand awareness, and it's process.
Yeah,
it's process. So if you see 20 NAI people tweet or link or do different things about the same content, you're also, if the audience seeing it, then they view us all as potential thought leaders, which is what we wanted to get to.
Yeah, put you as a leader in your community. Well, I know they're getting ready to have dinner, Jay.
I know.
We're probably going to have to go down and eat a little bit.
We have to eat, I know.
They've got an open bar going. We're missing out on all that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think we're doing I promised you that we would sit down and do this, and unfortunately I'm going to have to fly out in the morning. But I'm so thrilled that you do. And the other thing is, the one other point I think on all social media, if you're a new person to the industry, your ramp can be so much faster than the traditional way maybe you and I grew up in the business. Not to say that you're still going to have to do some of the things that we did when we were new, but the whole aspect of if I were to start over as a street broker, every person I meet, I would have one of those electronic cards and have them snap it into their phone, and I would try to recapture all of their information so I can very easily get that information out.
We just had a conversation about 40 minutes ago with a young lady that's been in the business 3 months. She is under contract on a deal that she got off of TikTok for a 7,000 square foot office in Orlando, Florida.
Right.
First
of all, the technology never existed, and she was smart enough to do it.
Yeah, she has her master's in real estate, and I'm like, I said, how did you get something put together that quickly? And she's here to learn more about how to do the other.
It's great.
TikTok she knew, because she's right out of college, but she goes, I need to learn the other platforms, and that's why she's here.
And keep in mind, the last thing also that's important is the decision makers in real estate, the owners and users who are making decisions, whether they want to sell, buy, lease, whatever, they're not generally 21 years old, and they're not generally 60 years old.
Right.
They're usually in the middle, and there is the aspect of they're getting their information that way.
Yeah.
So if we can convert commercial real estate business into getting their information that way, it's even, they're watching the CNN tweet or, in their feed and, et cetera, or whatever.
Yeah. And I think this summit is really getting people on track.
Absolutely.
I think companies like you that are creating content and putting it out for agents, that helps. Because we always find a reason, I don't have the time. Well, if it's here, all you have to do is plug and play. You find the time all of a sudden. So I think you guys are really leaders in pushing that down the road. So
and that will continue. I mean, because it is all about content.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it is. Well, Jay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And for those of you watching, thank you for tuning in today. And if you could, please give us a like. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you again in a few days.